Hi all, my name is Yunus, the president of Asti and also the project director for the Asti Feynman Challenge. Welcome today to our briefing on the Feynman Challenge. Just to give you a brief background or history of Feynman Challenge, something very new. When we started last year, we started it during the lockdown, the full lockdown in Malaysia, because students couldn't go to school. So we came out with a program that can be done at home, fully at home. That means the entire project can be conducted and completed in the house. And we also open it up to family members to participate. That means it doesn't need to be school-based. It's actually team-based. So friends, families, even teachers, anyone and everyone can be involved in the team. And again, normally when we run programs, our teams are between 3 to 5 students or participants, but because of this COVID and lockdown and all that, we had a minimum of 2 students. So 2 participants is enough to be a team member, right? So as you know, there are 3 categories: category 1, 2, and 3. I think you know the categories based on the age group. So you got primary, secondary, and adults. So on the upper primary actually, so for upper primary, the categories is determined by the eldest person in the video. So for example, let's say if the eldest person presenting in the video is age 15, but there are, let's say his or her parent is involved as a team member who say in his 30s or 40s, we would still categorize that team as category 2 because the eldest person in the video is 14 years old. It doesn't matter people behind the scene what the age is. So we go on the basis of the eldest person appearing in the video. So that's basic this thing. And then as for judging side, we are following the Feynman technique. For those of you who do not know, but I'm sure you have gone through the modules already. But the Feynman technique is it's a method of learning actually. It's not a teaching method, but it's a learning method. But it's learning by teaching, right? So, or explaining. So the Feynman technique supposes that when you are able to teach something which is complex in a simple format that a young person or the layman can understand, that means you have fully understood the concept now. I mean, people like Einstein and many other scientists always have said that, you know, complex scientific concepts are actually simple. I mean, in fact, simple is one of the criteria in which to determine whether or not science is true, because nature is simple in its makeup. So if you are not able to explain something simple that anyone cannot understand, that means you have not fully understood the particular concept in science, right? So this is true not only for science, it's also true for other things like economics, social sciences and all that. Even in economics, you know, in economics is what is economics? So maybe one way to explain it is economics is about supply and demand. So if you are able to explain it in a simple format where a non-economic student can understand, then you have understood the particular economic principle. So again, that's Feynman technique, and it can be used not only for science-based subject, it can be used for anything, history, geography, economics, and all that, right? Now, the Feynman technique, because we are Asti, the Association of Science, Technology, and Innovation, we have an innovation component that we've added into the Feynman technique, which is we require you to invent something or invent a method of teaching. So in other words, to make it simple, when you explain in your video, there must be an element of demonstration. So that means you must show something so that the students can see. It's not just talking heads like today, you know, we're just going to talk about things, we're not going to demonstrate. But in fact, I can give you one example of a demonstration. Now think about it. Let's take the third law of Newton, right? So the third law of Newton says that for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. So if I want to come up with an innovative way of teaching or something different, I can just say, okay, you know, and I can show the equations and all that kind of stuff. But if I want to show it where everyone can also do an experiment and feel the third law of Newton, I can just say, for example, I can say, take this hand, and then do a fist on this hand, and then what I'll do is I'll keep this hand straight, and this hand I'll try to push this hand away, like this, right? But then I can say that when I'm pushing with this hand, make sure that this hand doesn't move. So let's say I make that the criteria. So what I do now is when I'm pushing hard, right, and the harder you push, so the person that's doing this experiment will realize that there is a pain here because you're using the muscle here, but there's also a pain that is felt here by this bicep and tricep because you're pushing back, right? So the only way when I'm pushing this, the only way that I can make that this hand not move is when I push back. So while this hand is pushing in this direction, this hand is pushing in that direction. And this the force, the amount of force that's applied this way and that way is the same. So that is Newton's third law explained in a way that you can feel, right? So for example, let's say you want to go on, you can invent certain things, or you can do something where you can show how the force, this hand is also exacting a force. So then you have got your experiment complete. So it has to be something very, very simple. Doesn't need to be anything which is, you don't have to come up with like massive equipments or produce some massive invention or anything. It can be something simple as, you know, a hand which is fisted and another hand which is flat, right? And maybe you can add on to that the explanation. So when the judges see that, they see, okay, this guy is doing something different, and this guy is showing that, you know, when I want to teach, say, the third law of Newton, not only do I explain, but I can actually make the learner actually feel the third law, right? Because as I said, when you're pushing this direction, this hand is pushing this direction, and you can feel the pain here, which means that this hand is exacting a force, just like how this hand is exacting a force. So you have explained the third law. So that is basically what we are looking for. We're not looking for anything massively complex, right? Right. So the judging criteria, which you can see in our website, www.asti.org.my/AFC 2021. Make sure you go through the modules. for you to get an idea, right? The judging criteria, which I have here, is the biggest percentage of your marks will be how you explain the scientific principle in a way that is easy to understand by a person who is not from that subject, or even better, if you can explain it in such a way that, say, a 10-year-old can understand, then you'll get even better marks. So it all depends on how easy the explanation is, while the scientific principle is still there. So you don't have to use jargons. Please don't use jargons or big words, scientific, all these scientific big words and stuff like that, like quantum mechanics, this like quantum theory, of course, you're going to explain, you use the word quantum there. Do you think, say, a 10-year-old will understand the word quantum? So if possible, try not to use this kind of words, right? So that is on the scientific principles, right? So that's the bulk of the marks goes there. And then the other one is your teaching tool. So the teaching tool, as I said, in this example I just showed you just now, your teaching tool was just the hand, your right hand and your left hand, right? So it can be anything, but the judges are looking at how innovative, how different you teach as opposed to, say, what is taught, how it is taught in the textbook. So that means you are using the method on activity or whatever not, or even an invention, a ruler with some kind of invention, say for example, that is different. So the more different you are, the more innovative you are, the more out of the box, so to speak, you are, the more marks you'll get, right? So that comes on the demonstration side, right? And then, of course, then you also have marks for the quality of production, how well your video is done, your creative side, whether or not you're using teaching aids, whether or not you're using some amount of graphics, right? But it's not necessary, right? Don't think that just because you use graphic, you will get more marks. It's all the way you use this and how you are able to tell a story, because in most cases, they use more graphics, more this thing and all that, but then it's all over the place. There's too much of graphics, and then the person that's listening to you or trying to understand what you're saying is lost in all the graphics, So in other words, there's too much graphic. So there is such thing as too much graphic or too much teaching tool. So it must be in a way that is just right, properly balanced, so that the student can understand, right? The person that's listening to your video can understand. So that is quality of production now. So again, the details of that is all in the modules, so you can have a look at the modules. So let me go through all the modules that we have now, right? So number one, we have how to do a video and work with your child in a meaningful way. So there's an explanation of how to do production side of things on the video. And then there's an explanation, which is module 2, the Feynman technique. So this one we go detailed into what the Feynman technique is. So as I said, we are going quite detailed. So if you don't have to know that much, but we have not gone too detailed, but at the same time we did not go too surface, so we kind of in between. So you don't have to necessarily understand everything, right? But all these modules will give you an idea, right, when you're doing your video. So module 3 is teaching method and developing a lesson. Now the reason why we included this is it's not for teachers, but we want you to think that you're a teacher. So if you're in category 1, let's say you're in standard 5, you're a 10-year-old, we want you to become a teacher, right? Imagine that you are a teacher now and you are going to teach your younger brother or sister. So we have added that part about teaching element, so that there's an element of you understanding what teaching means now. So that can be one of your learning outcomes. You learn to become a teacher, so to speak, right? So that's module 3. And of course, the Feynman technique, the whole idea is teaching, because you're teaching via this video, right? So we have module 3 for that. And module 4 is on project management and planning. So you have to come up with the planning. So between now and the date of submission of your video, there's a lot of things to be done. Certain things that you need to buy and certain things that you need to build with your team members and all that. So how do you work as a team? Who does what? Who does this work? Who does that work? Who does the filming? What kind of video recording device you're going to use, whose handphone you're going to use. Are you going to use a Samsung or a Apple phone or whatever? So all you have to discuss and come up with a plan. So we have all those in module 4, which is project planning, project management and planning, which I think is a very important skill in the future, right? So it is good for you to know that as well. So in module 5, we've got on how to upload your video into YouTube, because your submission is via uploading into the YouTube. So that's module 5. Module 6 in what is an invention. So if, for example, if your teaching tool is an invention, something which is new, you are actually building something, right? Then this module will be useful for you, which is what is an invention, right? So this one gives a broad perspective on what invention is. So let's say yours is an invention of a method. This module is also useful for you, but not as useful as if yours is an actual invention. And then module 7 is judging criteria, which I'm sure you see. And then don't forget to go to the top where we got the AFC's terms and conditions. Make sure you read and fully understand the terms and conditions, right? So that's about it, my briefing. I want to keep it short because it's not really a training session. It's more briefing, just for you to get an idea of what Feynman challenge is. So let me go through some of the frequently asked questions. We have got all these questions, but I'm sure you'll be asking more questions as you are hearing this, and the answer to that will appear as soon as you ask the question. Somebody will answer your question on the spot as well. But let me go through. We've got about 16 frequently asked questions, quite a lot, right? So let's go through the first question. The first question is AFC replacing Science Fair Young Inventors Challenge? So Science Fair is the primary school project that Asti runs. Young Inventors Challenge is the secondary school project that it runs. No, it is not replacing. AFC is a project on its own. It's a separate project. Science Fair and YIC is a different project. It has got its own methods. AFC has got its own methods. So if you are, for example, if you are a participant of Science Fair or you're already a participant of YIC, you can still join as a participant of AFC. There's no harm, right? You can do both. Right? So question 2 is AFC only for students? No, it's not. If you're a parent, you're a teacher, you can participate, but that will be under the category 3. That means only parents or only teachers are participating. So you don't have to be a student to participate in AFC. Third question is how many participants, basically how many teams per school, right? And if you are a team, can you send more than one video? Yes, you can. If you are one team, you can send up to 3 videos. You accept up to 3 videos. But there must be 3 different scientific concepts or concepts, right? If you are a school, you can send as many teams as you want from your school. There shouldn't be a problem because AFC is a team-based event. Number 4 is, can teachers participate? Definitely yes. So if only teachers, if you're a team of teachers, or last year the winner for category 3 was a team of retired teachers, right? So you don't even need, if you're a teacher and all teachers want to get together and participate, can. Or even if you are retired, that means you're no longer a teacher, you can. Or if you're an engineer or you're a lawyer or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can participate, but you'd go under category 3, right? If let's say the person that's presenting is of that age, category 3 age. Okay. So number 5, can the video be in English? Yes, it can be. So at the moment, based on the judges that we have, we allow for 3 languages at the moment: English, Malay, and Tamil. Right. So that's number 5. Number 6, does the video need to meet certain duration, or can it be as long as you like? No, it can't be as long as you like. We have a maximum of 5 minutes, so you should not go above 5 minutes. So what happens is after the 5th minute, the judges will stop viewing, so you won't get marks already after the 5th minute, right? So make sure it is below 5 minutes. Okay. So number 7, do we need to do experiments or invention? Yes, you need to come up. So as I said, you have to come up with something which is simple. I mean, a method, right? It can be an experiment, it can be an invention, or it can invention in terms of a product, a physical invention. It can be an invention in terms of an experiment. It can be invention in terms of a method. So, for example, you remember I used the hand and this thing. This can also, I would under Asti Feynman challenge, we would consider this an invention, but it is an invention of a method, right? So a method of teaching, right? The teaching aid. So it can be anything, but we're looking for simple things. We're not looking for very complex things. So number 8, do we need to pay? No, it's totally free. Participation is totally free. Number 9, what kind of topics can a tertiary students present? So let's say you're a university student. So you can talk about, let's say you're a chemical engineer, because I'm a chemical engineer, you can talk about the Navier-Stokes equation. You can explain that in a simple format. Or if you're a physics student, you can talk about quantum entanglement. You can explain quantum entanglement in a simple format, right? And I think this year we are allowing for non-science students also. So if you're a non-science student, let's say you're an economic student, you can explain GDP, for example. You can explain GDP in a simple format, right? Or history, you can explain certain things that happen in our history in a simple format and so on. Okay. So number 10, a deadline for video submission. We have extended it to the 21st of June, right? Due to the school's closure. We most probably will not change this anymore, because I think we have come up with questionnaires and all that, and majority of people said they wanted it to be extended to the 21st of June. But we do not know, because there's all these COVID things and all that. So there is a possibility, but very low chance, right? So please try to submit all your videos by the 21st of June, right? Unless something really major happens, which we all hope it won't. So yeah, let's take it to the 21st of June, right? How to upload your video? So that one is very easy. Just go to the the web link that I mentioned just now, asti.org.my/AFC2021, and then go to the module. I think which module is this? Module. I think the first module, isn't it? Yeah, first module on how to do which module is this? Final technique, project management. Module 5, how to upload video in YouTube and video submission guidelines. So that's module 5. So just go to the module 5, everything is there. All the information you need is there, right? Question 12 is individual participation. Your team has to consist of at least 2 to 3. Individual at the moment we don't allow. So as I said, if you are one person, if you've got an idea, maybe you can ask your parent or your elder brother to join you, to help you, because you need one person to actually video you and one person to talk with. So I don't see, so we strongly discourage selfie videos, right? So ignore selfie, no selfie videos. We don't accept, right? So get somebody to video and you are the person talking and you got 2. And that's the reason why we came up with number 2 now. 13th question, age category. AFC, what are the age categories? So this one, again, I said, if you go to our website, you can see all our questions, all the details, terms and conditions as well. But let me mention it anyway. So AFC is divided into 3 age categories. Category 1 is 10 to 12. Category 2 is 13 to 17. Category 3 is all above 18, right? So, and the criteria for category 1, 2, and 3, which is what I mentioned just now, depends the eldest person on the video that you are submit. Okay. 14, changes in group members. So, do we allow for changes in group members? Yes, we do. As long as you let us know early. So, let's say a team member is tired, or for some reasons he or she cannot continue. You want to replace that team member with another team member, you can. Or if you, let's say you're a team of 3 and one pulls out. So you still have two, so you still can. You just let us know that one team member has left, so now you have two. So as long as you let us know earlier before the video submission, shouldn't be an issue. Changing of team name can, again, as long as you let us know early what is your old team name and what is your new team name, so that we can reference, so that we know that you have changed your team name. Otherwise we may end up marking, the judges might end up marking the wrong team member, right? So again, this is very important that you email us early and you get confirmation from us. So once you email it to us, make sure that you have got an answer, because there are cases last year, like teams have replied, and for some strange reason, because we are using Google, it went to our spam, right? So make sure in any email communication that you have with us, we reply, because we have a policy, right, in our SOP that all emails must be replied to. Even as simple as, our policy is we just reply with a word, one word saying noted, right? That itself, that we have read it last. So make sure we have this thing. If you haven't, send us another email, and still no, please call us to make sure that we have it, or WhatsApp us, right, to make sure that we receive that email, right? So that's very, very important. Question 16. Do we have to use recycled material for our invention, right? The answer is no, but we strongly encourage it. There's no marks for it. There's no marks for recycling, but it's always good to be socially and environmentally responsible. So please try to use recycled materials, but if you can't, no issue. There's no marks for that, right? So I think that's about it. We may have further sessions after this, depending on the kind of questions that we receive. We may organize another briefing or Q&A session. But for now, that's all. We look forward to your participation. I think we got over 600 teams registering from many countries, right? More than one country, I think four countries, I think. I mean, some of you may we got messages from certain districts in Malaysia anyway, that the letters they got late, which is one of the reasons why we extended. Let's say you still want to register, because again, as I said, because this Feynman Challenge is a project that we started during the COVID lockdown, so there's a lot of difficulties that students are facing. So let's say you still want to register, you can. If you still want to register, just let us know, or your friends want to register. Let's say you got a group of friends who still want to register, you can. Please write to us and let us know why you couldn't register, and give us a simple reason that why you couldn't register on time, and I think the committee can consider, and most probably will be quite lenient because of this COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and all the uncertainties. We are not too strict when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we look forward to your videos. We got a group of judges who will be looking forward to your videos. We got over 60 judges, right, from all over media, from media, from research. Some are teachers, some are lecturers, and stuff like that, right? So with that, I'd like to thank you for this session, for listening today, and please communicate with us on any questions that you have, and good luck with your video production. Bye.